This is a solid oak dresser from a high-end designer store that costs $3,600. And this is my version. It's under $500 and it's solid oak. So today I'm gonna show you how to build this exact dresser using accessible lumber from the hardware store. I'll give you a no math hack for drawers and the secret to this beautiful black grain finish. Now let's get to work. To keep costs down but still have a quality dresser, I am using red oak for the outer portion and birch plywood for all the drawers. So let's start with the legs. The thing that separates a $400 dresser from a $4,000 one is usually the legs. The original uses a tapered leg to give it that nice modern look. So I used a really simple jig on my table saw. And don't worry, later I'm going to show you how to get that rounded look. Don't let the size scare you. Furniture making is literally just building a big box and then filling it with smaller boxes. So I'm assembling the carcass with pocket holes. Now I know the comments are gonna roast me for this, but for a painted or stained cabinet, they are strong, fast, and invisible and great for beginners. After putting together both sides, it was time to screw on the bottom. I really wanted the top to be seamless, so I mitered both ends. And all I did was glue it together, and I know what you're thinking, isn't it going to fall apart? But wood glue is surprisingly strong. So for the rounded legs, I waited until everything was glued up, and then I used a 3/4 inch round over bit in my router. Because the legs are 1.5 inch thick, this will give a really nice rounded look. Now it's time to install the drawer slide spacers. So I cut a scrap block to the exact height of the gap that I needed for each drawer slide to make all the drawers even. I rest the slide on the block, screw it in, then I cut the side of the drawer box to size. And usually I make that the same length as the drawer slides. And then I screw those on again with a gap spacer. Then this is where there's no guessing. I measure between the two drawer sides. And this is gonna give you the most accurate measurement for the front and back of your drawer box. To get the bottom measurement, I will dry fit the drawer box so I can measure the front and the back. Since I'll be cutting dados in the drawer box, I add a 1/2 inch on each side. I usually cut the groove or the dado on my table saw because I find that's the easiest, but you can also use a circular saw. I will set my fence to 1/2 inch, so it's 1/2 inch up from the bottom. And then I will cut a 1/4 inch groove again on each of the bottom of the drawer boxes. When you're putting together the drawer box, it's really important to make sure that it's square. So I love using right angle clamps. And then all I do is pocket screw and wood glue the whole thing together. Again, that bottom panel will just slide right in and you have a perfect sturdy drawer box. To install the drawer fronts, I just use clamps and 1 1/4 inch screws from the inside of the drawer box, making sure there's an even gap on all 4 sides. Then I ironed on some edge banding. Since I used birch plywood, I also used birch edge banding, so it looks like one solid piece of wood. Now for the finish. The original dresser is more of a white oak color, but I really love a black grain, especially on red oak. And if you paint oak, you lose the grain. So I'm using India ink. It dyes the wood fibers a deep black and it has some shellac in it, so it also protects the wood, but it keeps all that beautiful grain texture visible. It's basically a tattoo for your wood. Then I install the knobs. I always get really nervous at this part because if I screw incorrectly, the whole thing's gonna be ruined, so I always use a jig for this. So here it is, solid oak, designer finished, and we saved over $3,000 by building it ourselves. If you've been wanting to get into furniture building, this is the perfect project to bridge the gap between beginner and pro. Grab the plans in the description, and if you like this, check out my other furniture builds right here. I will see you in the next one.